tastes terrible, as usual.
For being so bad, you should eat a lot of it.
They say hunger is the best spice.
Hello. When you think about the most popular foods, rarely were they sourced back to the rich. The most creative, resourceful dishes were derived from the peasants. That's the intriguing thing about creativity. Often we attribute it to talent, but we rarely consider the amount of suffering that went into that spark of light. The peasants had to make the most of what they had. That hunger is what forged their resourcefulness. Hunger has always been a primary source to all great accomplishments, not talent. The person willing to work through and learn more, possessed by a will to overcome their circumstance, to grow beyond their current paradigm of existence without suffering, and a sense of meaning to overcome that suffering. There is no justification to do so. You will not risk grinding your being to dust in that direction. It is as they say, 70% of rich families lose their wealth by the second generation. The moment a cushion is established, growth stops. That divine spark of human creativity cannot be seen in a room already full of so much light. Only in darkness may we become strong enough to kindle that spark for ourselves. Self-defense due to the risk of being jumped is why Conor McGregor joined the martial arts, and even though the world did not give him a path, with tooth and nail, he scraped his own. If you think about it, having to overcome that struggle and find his own way, that was an integral contributor to his knowledge advantage. Think about that. If he went to an established gym in North America, he would learn how to fight under their styles, but also he would learn how to defend against those styles. Thus, it would become less about the knowledge advantage and more about the individual leveraging that style. It's the same reason as to why Jiu-Jitsu was so dominant when it initially started. Knowledge advantage. With that said, what is Conor McGregor's advantage then? What the North Americans have in wrestling, the Irish have in a very high pedigree of boxing. Footwork, distance management, timing, effective utilization of one's reach, ring generalship, shot selection, feints, setting up traps. To think of this noble discipline as just punch technique is far from the picture. It's a way of thinking. We must note John Cavan is influenced from both black belt jiu-jitsu and Kempo karate, but you also see that same pop or whip-like philosophy ingrained into Conor McGregor's kicking technique. If you consider a Muay Thai roundhouse, you want to have penetrating force behind the strike, have it dig deep through muscle tissue. This makes it ideal for striking the legs and neck, the chin line. Conor's kicking style is very different though. I feel as though this aspect of his game does not get as much credit as it should, because quite frankly, it does not have that same tier of devastation as left straight does. Our amygdala sees real danger and we focus all of our attention on just that. Power. The boom. But Conor McGregor's kicks are an integral component to his stand-up game as well. And even though, he doesn't invest as much power into it, instead, he whips his legs at you. He touches you, he limits your options by throwing you off guard while still always remaining balanced. With his hands-down style, he's always in a position to avoid follow-up. He's always ready. The moment you put too much focus on his left straight, you're eating other elements to his game, which innately overwhelms you with options, which in turn innately, once again, opens up that left straight. This attention to detail when setting up strikes, with an open mind, he strung together his own style, learning from everyone. Then over and over, drilled those understandings on his own time, going over sequences in his mind, every waking moment to the point where it infects even his dreams. That's real hunger. Now consider this. If Conor McGregor had been born with everything, if he wasn't at the risk of being jumped, if he wasn't stuck on social welfare, if he didn't hate every moment of being a plumber despite respecting it as a noble discipline and necessary craft, would he have been hungry enough to make a place for himself where, at the time, there was none? That gap was bridged through sheer force of will, taking inspiration from everyone and everything, leaving no stone unturned. This leads us to a higher understanding. The brighter the light, the darker the shadow, or, as Nietzsche would have said, there are no beautiful surfaces without terrible depths. Let that be a little food for thought. This reality is pulled between two poles, leaving its nature paradoxical. Regardless of your place in life, as uncomfortable as it may be, realize that there is a gift in that darkness. Your struggle has promised you the strength to forge your own light. The darker and more difficult your path is, the brighter you will shine. It truly is interesting to think about how nature follows patterns. If you're exposed to bacteria from one portion of the world, your immune system will not have the defenses to deal with it. If you take an idea developed from one part of the world to another part of the world, there's a good chance it will thrive all the same. In Conor's case, he took a martial understanding from his portion of the world, jacked it up with as much as he could learn, then ran through an entire era. Without being subjected to darkness, the bow would have never been pulled, thus the arrow would have never taken flight. With that said, I urge you to never look down on your beginnings or your darkness. So as long as you do not let your string snap, I promise, you are being prepared to fly. Question: do you believe we'll see the same hungry Conor McGregor in his next bout? Your thoughts and perspective are always appreciated. Thank you. If you'd like to help me achieve my goal of 1 million subs, please subscribe and hit the notifications, or let someone you know in on Mind Smash. Thank you if you did. It truly does mean a lot to me. Thank you. Smash the button if you enjoyed. It's good karma, and until next time, peace.